CBS News 24/7 continues breaking news coverage of a school shooting out of Georgia. Our eye on Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. That's about an hour outside of Atlanta. And here's your headline at this hour. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation and the local sheriff there confirm a shooting at that school and casualties. They also confirm one suspect is in custody. Now let's take you back in time as we look at some of the video that our partners have been able to get from that scene. The school went on lockdown quickly after the first calls came out of that high school around 10:23 a.m. Georgia time. Police and emergency personnel raced to the scene as that school quickly went on that lockdown. Then dozens of police units, ambulances surrounded the school. We've even seen video of helicopters landing there. Students also taken to a football stadium where it appears there's a track facility to sort of corral all of those students in one area. Reporters on the scene tell us that multiple ambulances have taken victims to trauma units nearby. Now, that same reporter saying more than one medical helicopter also taking victims to a trauma center. We can tell you there is a response from leadership there in the state of Georgia. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp looking at video just like you are looking at here on the stream, and moments ago directed all state resources to respond to aid in this incident. We also know interagency cooperation continues with the FBI. The feds are on this one. They are coordinating in that response at the high school. Again, this is at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, about 50 miles away from Atlanta. And that's where we find CBS News reporter Jared Eggleston. He's been live on this scene for about an hour. So our eyes have been on ambulances. We've been hearing the reports of helicopters. Just how many ambulances have you seen coming and going from that scene?
Reed, over the last hour or so, ambulances, I would say dozens, 2 or 3 dozen ambulances have been coming and going from this scene here. That has sort of died down within the last 15 minutes or so. But you mentioned those medical helicopters. That one that I saw circling when I first got here landed, but it's still here. And then the other one that was circling also left. But there is still a significant police presence here, and also a significant parent preference. One of the parents telling me that she went over to the football field to try to get her student and that she was having trouble. The school is still trying to count these students. So as you know, in these very fluid breaking news situations, it's a lot of chaos and a lot of people just searching for answers. Those people who are really searching for answers right now are the parents who are just trying to reunite with their loved ones, their students.
And Jared, we're seeing on the screen those ambulances right there. And just a second ago, we saw one person being loaded onto that ambulance. We want to be clear to our viewers who are watching all over the world right now on CBS News 24/7. We do not know what casualties mean in this case. We do not know if any of the victims of this shooting are teachers or students. That all is information that is yet to come. But right there, you see community members there, one person taking off his shirt to put on one of the persons who's sitting there with a blanket over them. Also, we're seeing right now, Jared, on the screen, emergency personnel going into that school. Others gathered right there by a stretcher underneath the Georgia and the American flag flying. We know in these cases that every time we hear of a bullet flying in a school, this is somebody that's involved. That's no doubt got to be the heartbeat of all of these parents who are coming to the scene. Where are the parents right now? What are they being told about getting their students out of that school?
Well, initially, when I got here, I was along this sidewalk right in front of the school where a lot of the media has gathered, and it was just swarmed with parents. A lot of them even left their cars as they just rushed towards the school. A lot of the parents have moved over towards the football stadium over here so that they could be reunited. But as I said, a lot of the parents are still kind of rushing to the scene. I would say for about a mile or two radius around the school, parents are just ditching their cars on side streets, on areas where you wouldn't normally park a car. That's an active roadway, and rushing over to that football stadium to try to get answers. I do know that the students have been evacuated out there, and the school district says that they are actively working to reunite the students and the families.
We also want to let our viewers know that it is our understanding that a suspect is in custody. That may inform our view and our understanding of why it looks like there's some movement there. Jared, we'll check back in with you a little bit later here on the stream. Thank you for that report. We know you have a lot of work to do today. So we also have a CBS affiliate coverage that we want to get you to right now. Often, these stories are best told right there on the ground level with our network of CBS partners. Let's listen into their coverage.
Yeah, Lana, we have been speaking with parents, but I want to bring in Mark Knotts. He's a witness. He lives across the street from the high school. You don't have any children, Mark, but you said that you live across the street, and just tell us what you heard this morning.
Well, this morning when I woke up, I heard gunshots, and several of them. I couldn't tell exactly how many, so I went outside to smoke my cigarette like I do every morning. And I noticed about 5 minutes after that, cop cars were everywhere. Surrounding 6 counties were everywhere. I'm talking about 1,000 cop cars. And I knew something was seriously wrong. And then I seen all the cars pulling on the side of the road and everything. And I just, I pray that, everybody's all right. And the people that have passed away, if there has been anybody, I just pray for their families and everything. And like I said, I just had to get away, and I'm just commuting to the store real quick. So,
shortly after you heard those gunshots, did people start coming out of the school?
It was crazy. Like it looked like I didn't really pay no attention to it at first. I was like, this sounded like they were at the school. And I look over, and then the alarms started going off, like the school alarms, and people were going out around the school, and like they're doing like the drill, like the drill, fire drill stuff is what I seen. And then I knew something was seriously wrong then. And you don't hear about that happening. You hear about it happening all around the world, but it just shows that it can happen anywhere. And
this community's pretty small, tight knit. I mean, it's usually
there's no seriously gunplay or nothing like that goes on around Bethlehem. It hasn't been for years. It hasn't been that I can remember, and I'm 35 years old, so it's not really likely. So apparently, I don't know. I don't have no details, but apparently something was going on with somebody's mental. So that just shows that people need to be more aware of their children, if it was a child, about their mental state, because nobody never knows what the next man can do.
And those are details we're still trying to work out as far as what happened and what the motive may have been. But thank you so much, Mark, for your time. You as well. And Mark was telling us he lives right across from the high school. He says, of course, it's just been chaos out there this morning. All kinds of police officers, parents, children. He was actually walking towards us with his head down. He said, I just need to step away from this for a little bit. He said he's walking up to the store to just take a breath. I mean, even people that really aren't involved with what happened at the school. This is a very highly emotional time for everybody in this community, guys.
Yeah, Chelsea, he mentioned mental health, and Representative Esther Panich actually did say that today. I know there's still a lot more emphasis on what has happened, but she did note for anybody affected or traumatized by what's happening right now at Apalachee High School, you can dial 988 and get help. This is such a horrible situation. And Chelsea, while we still have you here, I just wanted you to see if you could fill in what you've been hearing from parents. I know we don't have anybody who's willing to go live with you right now. As you can imagine, they are just trying to get to their babies and try to figure out what's going on there. But can you just fill us in of what you've heard from parents that you've talked to as they've rushed by you to get to the school?
Yeah, we spoke with a grandmother who is very distraught. She was walking down the street here. Her grandson is okay, and she's so thankful that he's okay. But she said he was in the room where a classmate was shot. So she's very thankful that her grandson is doing fine. But she says, of course, mentally, this is going to be very hard and something he's not going to forget the rest of his life. We also spoke with another woman who said she was the older sister of a girl here that's 14 years old. And she was also racing down this street here to get there and pick her sister up. She said she was okay, but was completely shaken up. Said she got a phone call from her crying this morning saying there's an active shooter. Please come pick me up. And I think we do have some of that soundbite that we'll play for you now. Is she okay? Have you talked to her?
Yeah, I've talked to her. She's a little nervous. They're on the football field waiting on the parents to come get them. She's very nervous.
Did she hear the gunshot?
I don't know. She didn't tell me. She just called us and said, could you hurry up and come get us? There's an active shooter here. And my first thing was to make sure she was okay. Nobody was hurt. So that's my biggest concern.
When you heard there was an active shooter?
Yeah, my heart started beating. I was actually on my way to go to work. And then I just dropped everything and I just got in the car and I left. The traffic was so bad at the front. I was in the middle of the red light and people were blowing, but there was nothing I could do. So the main thing is to make sure these kids are okay. So
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, have a good luck. Be safe. And you can see we did that interview as she was almost jogging down to the school. This road here, Tom Miller Road, you can see people walking down it still at this hour, trying to get here, get off work and collect their children from the high school following the shooting that took place here this morning. Again, a lot of parents have made contact with their children and learned that they're okay, but we did speak with another mom who came up to us crying. She said she couldn't get in touch with her son, who's a senior here, was asking us for information, which of course we're still trying to get for everybody at home as well. We know that the sheriff's office is going to be holding a press conference shortly that Adam Murphy will be covering for us, guys.
All right, Chelsea, thanks very much. Your heart goes out to all.
You're watching CBS News 24/7, dipping into our CBS partner there in Winder, Georgia. Once again, the headline, a school shooting at Apalachee High School. And we want to get you these late-breaking details from 2 law enforcement sources. We can now confirm 2 dead, 4 wounded, suspect now in custody. So a lot to unpack here. I'm just hearing right now that law enforcement is going to give us that promised news conference that you just heard our partner in the field talk about. Let's go ahead and listen in right now.
2 minutes.
All right. So here's what happens in situations like these. Once in a while, they come to the microphone, but then they stop to gather a little bit more information. So we understand any moment now that law enforcement official will step to the microphone and really in these situations give us very clear information. We have been able to confirm through those 2 law enforcement sources, once again, 2 dead, 4 wounded. But in situations like these, one of the challenges for law enforcement, in addition to making sure that they get the suspect, in addition to making sure that the wounded get to where they need to get, in addition to keeping the scene tight so that people are safe and that investigation can be bulletproof, so to speak, a terrible term to use there, but so that they can really investigate and do a good job in their investigation. The other thing that they need to do is clear through any misinformation that might spread on social media. We live in times right now that what you see on X may not immediately be true. So those news conferences are important things to happen because that is where you hear it directly from the people who are there at the scene. They will be able to tell us more about the injured, the victims, and how this all played out. So let's go ahead now and listen in. It appears he is getting ready to speak right now. Once again, outside of a high school, Apalachee High School, Winder, Georgia. We understand 1,900 students went to school there this morning expecting to get an education, but instead terror at school. Listen.
Smith, I'm the sheriff of Bexar County Sheriff's Office. We're standing on the campus of Apalachee High School here at Bexar County Schools. First and foremost, I want to lift up our community. I want to give our sympathies to our community, our school system, our kids, our parents that had to witness this today. Obviously, what you see behind us is an evil thing today. At about 9:30 this morning, we received the first call that there was an active shooter on this campus. We're not releasing any information as far as injuries, but we have multiple injuries. This is a very, very fluid investigation. It's very early. And I have asked the assistance of the GBI and the agencies here behind me today, and there are multiple agencies that responded this morning to help us and help the sheriff's office. We do have a suspect in custody. And we are asking for your patience as the media to please let us get the facts that we need to make sure we get this right. Again, I've asked the GBI to help us, the sheriff's office, to help us along with this. I know this is not what you want to hear, but I'm not going to answer questions after this is over with. But I wanted to give you the respect and our community respect to let them know what was going on initially. We're in the process of reunifying our students with their parents. Obviously, that's chaotic, but we want to be respectful of them and their privacy as well. I want to thank the state, the federal agencies, the local agencies that showed up today, as you can see, the multiple EMS and fire from other agencies that responded today. Again, I ask that you lift up Bexar County Schools, lift up Apalachee, lift up our agencies. This is going to take multiple days for us to get answers as to what happened and why this happened. But I wanted to give you a statement. It is our hope, in conjunction with these people behind us, that we can give you another statement around 4 o'clock, because I know you have to go back on the air. That is my hope. But I wanted to be fluid with you all, understanding that it's fluid as well with this investigation. I appreciate you being patient with us. Again, it's very active and is ever developing. Every minute is developing on what we're finding. So we're going to have releases from other schools. Again, we ask that you be patient with us. Please be patient with us. And hopefully I can give you more information or more better information if you will, this afternoon. Thank you all for coming out here. We'll be back shortly, okay?
Sheriff, it's been widely reported that people are dead. Is that true?
I'm not releasing any information. We have multiple injuries.
Can you say if the person in custody is an adult or a juvenile?
I'm not releasing any information. Guys, I'm not going to answer any more questions this time, okay? Thank you.
All right, so as these things go, we are hearing just a little bit more information. That sheriff saying he's not going to release any more information, but CBS News, through 2 law enforcement sources, has been able to confirm 2 dead, 4 injured. Let's listen into the next person stepping to the mic.
Following us on Twitter, X, make sure you're following us. We'll be providing updates then. I know there are a lot of details, investigative details. You want more information. That is what the investigators are actively working on right now. Anything to add?
Yeah, so the idea will be to be back here at 4 o'clock, but keep an eye on our social media. If that changes, you'll know it. We'll be able to address, hopefully answer more questions for you, okay? Or be in a position to give you more answers. We'll just have to see how things
We
go.
just realized this was happening. Tell us how many people, what you know about that.
We're not in any kind of position. The sheriff's made his comments. We'll leave it at that. By 4 o'clock, we hope to have a better picture, a bigger, so you can better comprehend what's going on. Okay, we really appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so you are seeing a measured response by officials there outside of Apalachee High School right now. And that's how often these things go. They go out and they want to let the public know just what they are able to say, but they have to be very careful about what they say and when they say it. They said they do not want to get this wrong. However, this stuck out to me, and I'm sure it stuck out to you watching right now on the stream. That sheriff calling what happened there at Apalachee High School an evil thing. He said what happened and why it happened will take many days to figure out. So once again, a shooting at Apalachee High School, Winder, Georgia. This is a small community, but a large high school. 1,900 students inside that high school went to school this morning, all of them expecting a good day at school. That good day ended around 10:23 a.m. when the first calls for help, Georgia time, came in, and then all of that huge police response that happened. So right now, when you think about it, there are students and teachers who are getting word right now that someone who shared those halls, more than one someone who shared those halls, have lost their lives or are in the hospital fighting for their lives in a trauma center, we understand. Some taken by ambulance, others rushed to the hospital by helicopter right off of that football field that you saw there outside of Apalachee High School.